There's a lot going on here, ladies and gentlemen. We are talking about Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Adam, first impressions with no idea what's going on.
Is mayonnaise an instrument? That's my impression.
There really is a lot going on. Okay, so
But to really go into like what I really thought, I thought it looked really good. Like I thought the animation style is really cool. I thought the just overall atmosphere of the game is really good. So that's kind of what I went with as first when I first watched it.
I do think visually it's very, very cool. So we can throw up the trailer, and I'm gonna apologize right now, guys, because this one is very, very in depth and there's a lot going on here. So I am going to have to look at my notes just to make sure that we get this all right. But essentially, I just real quick wanted to read the description from Sandfall, who's the developer of the title. The way that they describe this game is that you are going to be leading members of Expedition 33 on their quest to destroy the Paintress so that she can never paint death again. They also go on to say that this game is inspired by classic JRPGs, and E33 sets itself apart with immersive and reactive turn-based battles, a mature narrative, and an art style inspired by French art and architecture, which I think, looking at the game, you can really kind of see this stuff. But you can also see I can really see the inspiration from these like classic JRPGs with like the settings and the battles that we see and the bosses that are being fought here. So if you're just looking at it from an aesthetic standpoint, it looks really beautiful and it looks like a game that's going to be a lot of fun to play. Now, what exactly is happening in this game? Because that is the question that you don't really get an answer from if you're just watching the trailer. So the way that this game is going to work, essentially, there's movies that have done this before. I forget what movie it was. Oh god, that's gonna drive me nuts. But this has been done in movies before. But in this world, basically everyone above a certain age is sentenced to death. And the reason that like this is called Expedition 33 is that the Paintress, and who is the antagonist of the game, every year she wakes up and on her little monolith she comes out and she paints an age on the monolith, and the age that's on the monolith this year is 33, which means that everybody that's 33 years old is going to die. And the idea behind this game is that this expedition is following in the footsteps of other expeditions prior to it that have failed, who are going on a quest in an attempt to stop the Paintress from painting so that people stop dying. And that's kind of the idea behind the game.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I didn't get any of that.
Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely makes sense, but I did not realize that's kind of where they're going with the story and things like that. Again,
Yeah.
This one I kind of watched and I was a little bit confused and I didn't know where to kind of find where to go to find all that. So
to like find your footing, right?
yeah, but overall that's definitely a very cool and unique story, and I think it fits well with what this game kind of is, to be honest. And I like the so kind of what you're watching here with the gameplay. It's turn-based like combat, but like it's almost like it's kind of like a Dark Souls, like a Souls like with the like not traversal, like exploration wise. Is it, or is it more like an open world?
No, you're very correct. It's
Okay.
very much like a Dark Soul. In fact, my note for this game was this was Final Fantasy with Dark Souls lore.
Gotcha.
That's what this game feels like to me. It feels like Final Fantasy with Dark Souls lore. But yeah, it is very turn-based, but it also has this like Dark Souls kind of aesthetic when you're looking at like the the vibe and the presence that you're getting in the trailer. It's very Dark Souls, which is why I was drawn to it immediately. And then the traversal aesthetic, it really is. It's like we just talked about, like that. It's linear, but it's linear exploratory. What it looks like to me. So yeah, you're very correct in like what it is.
And when I first watched it, I thought like the boss battle, like that very first animation, I thought that was like actually like you doing the animation, and then I realized it was turn-based. That's where I kind of lost the interest to me to be honest. I'm not a huge fan of turn-based stuff like this, but I don't think it looks bad. I think like the mechanic of it is really cool with like the like you change like you hit your attack, but you actually had the button input to make the attack work. And I thought that was cool.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the biggest fan of turn-based combat either, but this one really intrigued me because I think that this combat system is very unique in the sense of, yes, it is a traditional turn-based combat system, but it brings in a lot of aspects of things that I love, and it makes it more, they really said, it's a dynamic turn-based system, and it really is a dynamic turn-based system. So when it comes to the combat, you can think of it almost like it's almost like a mashup of Final Fantasy and like Persona almost a little bit. So when it's your turn, when it's your turn to attack, you have your very basic moves. So you can attack, you can equip items, you can use skills, all the standard stuff. But one of the things with the attacking is once you select your attack, your turn is not over and you're just watching an animation, which is typical of a lot of turn-based RPGs. In this game, once you choose your attack, you have this like free aim system, so they want you to be able to aim your attacks in certain spots and find what they're calling weak spots on the enemy. So it keeps that like more interactive. And then on the same token, on defense, you have a chance to like when you're playing Pokemon and it's just like you throw the attack and your dude just gets smashed and you're like, damn, that sucks. On defense, you have the chance to defend yourself. So the attack will come in and you can either dodge, you can jump, you can parry, which is really cool. Anything with a parry in it, I absolutely love. So like if you perfect parry their attack, it'll counter back on them. You have a chance to dodge out of the way. You have a chance to jump counter. Like it's very It's not so much a turn base of like, I choose fight and then you just kind of watch it all play out. Like it really is much more of a I wish there was a better word than interactive.
Yeah,
it's engaging. It's much more engaging. It
That's-
keeps you engaged longer. You're not just watching a bunch of animations, which I really love.
Right, and they're kind of really showcasing that right now at the end of the trailer with that interaction and engagement of the game. Because like we mentioned, like I'm not a huge turn-based game player, but with this one, it's intriguing to me in the sense that it looks more fun than a normal turn-based game. And I think that's why I like Pokemon. I've played a lot of Pokemon games, but for me, like, it gets boring after a while to just kind of sit there and like, okay, my turn, your turn, my turn. So like I like this one in the sense that it looks a lot better in terms of engagement.
I mean, I know we're gonna probably get in a lot of trouble for saying this, but yeah, turn-based games have always just been a little bit boring to me, just because it's very much just like pick and watch, pick and watch, pick and watch, pick and watch, and I'm just like, you know me, man. I want
Right.
I want a game where there's a 40-foot beast that is trying to slice my head off for will not leave me alone, and to have a little bit of that in here kind of makes me very interested in getting into this turn-based system. And the story is just so crazy. Like the story sounds so good. And
I was gonna say that's probably what would sell me the most on this game is the lore behind it and the story and the overall aesthetic of the game. I think that is what is really intriguing to me as well. I think it looks really good, and like you described the story, it's a unique story, and the way it's visually represented, like I think it looks really good and definitely intriguing to the sense that I would enjoy watching somebody play this game.
the setting is really cool. Like I know I keep kind of comparing it as like mashups and stuff like that, but it's almost like Dark Souls meets Avatar, where it's like it has that kind of like dirty kind of Dark Soulsy kind of feel, but it also has these like really bright, like immersive kind of sci-fi kind of colors with it. Like it's just such an interesting look. And yeah, if you guys have just seen the trailer without much explanation, I don't know, it was really hard to kind of piece that all together. I really had to go to like the developer sites and stuff like that and kind of find that story. So I understand why you might have passed this one by, but now that you know the story, watch the trailer again, give it a look over, and it all kind of like it all makes sense, and I think it makes it a little bit more intriguing.
When does this one come out? This one comes out in 2025.
Yeah, 2025. We got a little bit.
Gotcha. And is this one coming out on all consoles?
All consoles, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you can play it anywhere. PC, PlayStation 5, not on Switch. so you know it's
No,
good.
yeah, no, it's good. Unless it comes out on Switch too, whenever that comes out. But
Comes out on,
okay,
on Switch too.
yeah, I don't have much to say on it, only because I was confused, and I think you cleared up a lot of that confusion for me. And now that I know the story, I think it's definitely more intriguing than when I like originally watched the trailer. To be honest.
Yeah, give it a shot. It's called Expedition 33 because of the Paintress. The Paintress paints her number on the monolith, and you can see that in the trailer. You know, the number on for this year is 33, which is why it's called 33. And you can see kind of what happens to people once they hit the cursed age, what they're calling it in the trailer. They kind of like fade to smoke and just kind of fade away. Yeah, and you're taking team members on an expedition. You're trying to stop the paintress so that she'll stop painting numbers, so that the, you know, because if she keeps going, the average, you know, I mean, eventually you're gonna be left with like nobody. Yeah, no, there's gonna be nobody. Yeah, you're gonna be left with nobody to to live. So they go on a quest to stop her. And look at the combat system. If you look at the combat system while you're watching the trailer, now that you know how it kind of works, you can see the parry pop up and stuff like that. It looks like a lot of fun. I'm super excited for this one. Will drop in 2025 on all platforms.